Hello and welcome to the Daily Comic and Collectible, episode 339. Now today, the collectible of the day is the McFarlane Toys DC Comics Superpower Collection Retro Series Deathstroke action figure. Slade Wilson is a mercenary and assassin for hire, with no qualms about crossing lines to get the job done. A formidable operative for the U.S. military, Colonel Slade Wilson agreed to undergo an experimental process that increased his mental and physical abilities to superhuman levels. Blade became the masked mercenary Deathstroke. Continuing the legacy of the DC Superpowers line of the 1980s comes a brand new batch of your favorite heroes and villains in the classic nostalgia series we all loved. This classic 4-inch scale figure of Deathstroke is from the Superpowers figure line with 5 points of articulation. Deathstroke is featured in his classic suit and includes a sword. Comes packaged in iconic Superpower blister pack packaging with updated artwork and logos reflecting your favorite characters. Released by McFarlane Toys. Now, the comic of the day is Deathstroke, Volume 3, Issue Number 1, with the cover date of December 2014, with story by Tony S. Daniel, art by Tony S. Daniel, and cover by Tony S. Daniel, another busy beaver. This issue is titled Gods of War. Slade Wilson considers the role of Deathstroke a job, not a reflection of who he is. Most of the rumors about him are true, and he doesn't mind, because he loves his job. As far as he is concerned, Slade Wilson is a good man, an adventurer. Assassin work gives Slade the opportunity to make new friends from all walks of life. His middleman, Tiggs, is one such person, and their pair trust each other so strongly that they will take each other's true identities to the grave. They share a distaste for technology, choosing instead to rely on photographs and written notes, leaving no electronic footprint. For his next assignment, Tig offers a chance to go back to Russia, despite a personal request from the president that he not come back, and kill a scumbag named Possum. Slade's contact in Russia is Angelica, with whom he has a sexual history, and he lets her tire him out, as long as he gets away by morning. She is, after all, very resourceful. Her intel proves good, and after tearing through his targets, he returns to find that she got that intel by torturing 2 men to death. She intimates that one of the many things they told her was that this contract was a setup. Word of Deathstroke's coming had already reached them, and they offered to pay her well to let him walk into a trap. She obliged, of course, but decided to stick around and discovered a mobile phone transmitting a frequency that only Slade could hear. At least, that's what Possum told her. Possum sits, tied to a chair and bloodied, and he smirks that Slade should be able to hear the key unlocking the barriers on his mind, stripping him of his motor function. Slade's many employers had thought that they could hide what they had him do for them, but they were wrong. Collapsing, Slade angrily spits out the code that Possum is seeking. Having got what he wanted, Possum prepares to kill Slade, musing that he will be able to test Deathstroke's famed healing power. He prepares to slice off Slade's head, but Slade grips the blade in his hand and mightily thrusts the handle up through Possum's skull, killing him. Unfortunately, Possum had backup, and Slade is soon on the run from military-grade aircraft. He feigns an injury in order to lure in the enemy, and spots familiar markings on the men sent to collect him. But they aren't local to Russia, and he cuts them down and makes his mistake. Possum watches, still somehow alive. Bleeding heavily, Slade is too wounded to think clearly. Trying to remember the name of the man he's to see, an older man called I Ching. Fortunately, he finds his way to the old man's place and collapses onto the floor. Sometime later, Slade wakes up to see the old man looking down on him, explaining that he brought him back from the dead. But he's not safe. Nowhere is safe for Deathstroke. Slade now owes him a debt, which he will collect eventually. But for now, Slade needs to worry about surviving. With that warning, I Ching disappears right before his eyes. Despite having been healed, Slade senses something has changed in him, and he doesn't like it. Geek fact: Angelica is a Russian agent with specific skills in espionage and interrogation. She's also missing an eye. She once had a run-in with Bronze Tiger that resulted in her facial scars. She has an accelerated healing factor after being genetically altered. Although not as good as Deathstroke's, it's still good enough to let her heal after Possum caved in her skull with a punch. This is her first appearance in DC Comics. Bonus geek fact: Possum was a killer hired by Slade's own father to lure his son into a trap to activate a sleeper program. He used the Russian spy Angelica to do it. This was also Possum's first appearance. Possum had superhuman strength and elasticity. He has the power of regeneration. He can recover from almost any injury. Slade himself said his own healing abilities are not as well developed. He's also self-sustaining. He can talk after being decapitated and can use his body parts to fight. In fact, after being left for dead, Slade and Harley Quinn were both attacked by his body parts while they were searching for Rose and Jericho. Side geek fact: Possum really stands out in a crowd, and that's his main weakness. Possum has bright, almost glowing orange eyes and cadaver-like white skin. Another bonus geek fact: I Ching is a former intelligence agent and a martial arts instructor. He is a twin, born with the embodiment of the principle of yin, while his twin, Al Yang, was born with the embodiment of yang. When his brother refused to complete his training, I Ching took up the embodiment of both yin and yang and became the embodiment of harmony. His powers include astral projection and divine empowerment. I Ching's first appearance was in Wonder Woman, Volume 1, issue number 179, with a cover date of December 1968. And final geek fact: Slade Wilson, known as Deathstroke, his alignment is neither hero nor villain. He considers himself neutral. His occupations are mercenary, assassin, government agent, bounty hunter, and soldier. Deathstroke often comes into conflict with both sides of the superhero community. He was also ranked the 24th greatest villain of all time by Wizard magazine. Final side geek fact: Deathstroke's codename actually comes from his sword. The Deathstroke is an ancient Scottish warblade. He won it in a game of poker. He had promethium forged into the blade, making it stronger and capable of absorbing all forms of energy, including magic. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me for another Daily Comic and Collectible, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. This is Cat Fan Comics Man, and I'll catch you on the flip. Over and out.